right, good morning, everyone. Today, I want to talk about memory. Memory as it arises in meditation, memory as it forms a starting point for our understanding of current self, memory as a particular type of thought with particular attributes. So to start with, memory is one of those sort of gross level mechanisms that make it really easy to see that our self is impermanent, right? This idea of the impermanence of the self, this recognition of the impermanence of self is a challenge, right? Because it doesn't necessarily line up with the language that we use or many of the experiences that we have on a moment by moment basis. But it is clear that our self has changed. The same way that we can look and see it's clear that at a gross level seasons change, or the construction of a neighborhood. You know, if I look outside my window or walk down the street, the conglomeration of buildings and people that make up the region that I live in is clearly different than it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago when we first moved in. Clearly my garden looks different now. Clearly the river is differently constituted. Right? We can see these things easily, and there's no challenge to my sense of self when I recognize that the plants in my garden grow and that people come and go in a neighborhood. It's bizarre to think that there would be. The same with then memory. I can remember what it was like to be 19 years old and spending an academic year in London. I can remember what it was like to be 27 and involved in a PhD program. So there's my dogs scratching on the wood floor. Settle down, settle down. Good boys. I'll leave that in because I know that many of you like to keep up on the puppies. They're a year old now, a little over a year. And in fact, we're coming up on the year anniversary of when we found the puppies and brought them home. It was the first week of August of last year. So now they sit up here under my desk, where there's no rug. There's just a wood floor, but they scratch at the floor before they sleep. So I can clearly see that I'm not the same person that I was 20 years ago. Like again, there's no dispute there. There's no challenge to my sense of self to say that I've changed over time. The difference is when the window gets closer, right? It's a little bit harder to say that I'm a different person than I was 6 months ago, for example, unless we point to some event. I got married, someone I know died, moved house, changed a new job. Those are the kinds of things that we recognize as saying, "Oh, I'm very different than I was 6 months ago." But do I feel? It's a little harder to feel that my 6-month-old self has less connection to my immediate self. Then come in closer, a month or a week. Stop that. Or a minute, right? Like the relationship between my current self now and my previous self a minute ago is the same relationship that I have with myself from 27 years ago. It just feels more immediate because I exert energy to maintain this current self, and there's sort of resonance of the previous energy expenditure that plays into this current moment and sort of creates this illusion of connection. But what is it that's forming that connection? And this is where, on the meditation cushion in practice, one of the things that happens to me often is some of the thoughts that arise and occur during the meditation practice are very vivid memories, often of excruciatingly embarrassing moments, painful mistakes or regrets. Not always, but often those are the thoughts that arise. And I can see very clearly that the constitution of those thoughts now, in that exact moment on the cushion, is the same as the constitution of the self in the present, because my relationship to the memories in the immediate on the cushion is the same as my concept of self relating to the temporarily different accretion of phenomena that was myself 27 years ago. Do you see what I'm saying? The memory arises, and I'm aware of it in the moment. Off the cushion, when I'm distracted or when I can condense a little bit around a sense of self, and I think I used to do this, I used to be that. That phrase, used to do, really concentrates the same relationship as the relationship of consciousness to memory. So my sense of self today, related to my sense of self 27 years ago, is the same as my sense of consciousness related to the arising of thoughts and phenomena in the moment. And so when those memories arise, it's easy to ruminate on them, and it's easy to enjoy them or to follow through on the implications of those memories, because they're very close, right? They feed directly into my current sense of who I am. They are my past, right? But the relationship, the memory was a previous moment, and the relationship between the memory of the moment and the moment of the moment is the same. It's tripping up over those words. I think what I'm suggesting is that in the course of a meditation session, when thoughts arise, many of those thoughts are thoughts of the future, anxieties, plans, desires for the future. Many of them are fantasies about the present, and some of them are memories of the past. And I feel right now in my practice that contemplating the memories of the past, observing them, observing that they are, in one sense, the same as all other thoughts and phenomena, but in some other ways, they are attractive in a way that makes them harder to let go of. And because they fit really directly into who I think I am today, in a way that my future anticipation doesn't necessarily. So observing the behavior of a memory is a little bit different for me than observing the behavior of a thought about what I might do at work next week, or what am I going to have for dinner tonight, or any of the other kinds of things that come up, fantasies and wishes and desires that come up during meditation. Because I think I feel that the memory is part of what is holding the the current sense of self together. This all goes back, I think, to a lot of what I've been talking about lately, which is current realization of the sort of a Venn diagram, or an overlapping, if not a Venn diagram, at least overlap between two different types of practices. And one is watching the breath and allowing the distractions to evaporate around the breath, so sort of concentration exercise. And as I do that, as I become more focused and stable in my concentration on the breath, I recognize that it feels like the physical breath is actually the second or third degree of the actual breath, that there's a feeling of an up and down that is causing my breath. Right? I'll talk more about that again coming up, and I mentioned it a few weeks ago. But when I watch my breath, first there's a lot of thoughts like chatter around that subsides, and then as I'm really watching the breath and looking for when the breath starts, the impetus for that breath doesn't seem to come from my body, it seems to come from outside. So watching that more, concentrating more on that, and then at the same time doing practices, not necessarily literally at the same time, but in practice, where I am noting the sensations of the physical body, and through that noting, recognizing that the physical body isn't framed, isn't limited by my skin, is an uprising of different phenomena, and the overlap of those two unfolding realizations, like if that's the experience, that starts to get me towards a sense of understanding how I can have an immediate sort of day by day construct that I'm very connected to and attached to, but start to get some glimpses of what it is underneath the energy that's required to maintain this this ongoing continuity. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you for checking it out and listening. If you have questions, drop a comment, like and subscribe and share and everything like that. And beyond that, my friends, keep your wits about you.